Hi, Kayla here from My Vegan Dreams. I'm with Megan, and today we have a very special guest, someone who is very aspiring to a lot of vegans in our community and a lot of men to go vegan. So this is someone that has started his own vegan jerky business. That's right, vegan jerky. Amazing. And so when you guys pop on, definitely, tell us hi, check in the comments. Love to hear where you're coming in from, if you've ever tried vegan jerky or not. And I am going to let Megan introduce him because she actually knows him and is local to Megan. So Megan, welcome.
Thank you. This is my first time being on my own interview, like My Vegan Dreams. So I'm glad that Kayla has been doing all these. It's definitely been fun. And yeah, so let's get started. So Brett Christoffel, I've met him several years ago, and he's just awesome. I remember meeting him. I think he was just starting out his vegan jerky business. Like, we both live in North Texas, and I think you still live in North Texas. Is that correct? Okay, yeah. And so I remember trying his vegan jerky, and I thought it was so awesome, and we just wanted to connect and share it to the community. And his vegan jerky is Jerky Y'all, and I actually remember meeting him at our local, or not meeting him again, at our local like veggie fair here in Dallas, Texas. And I met him a few times. I met him like 2 years ago, and then last year, and then I don't know if there's going to be one this year, but that'd be fun to see him again at our veggie fair. But yeah, so Brett, just tell us a little bit about like how you got started and like your road to becoming vegan in your business.
Thanks for having me. It started with a learning that food was either completely supporting wellness or illness. And forgive the background noise. There's some floor work done. But I had opened a organic raw vegan juice and smoothie bar in Van Alstyne, Texas back in 2013. And I still ate meat and dairy all day long. But I sold that because I knew that was the most nourishing thing I could give someone. Fast forward a few years, it finally hit me, this has been over 4 years ago, that I love all animals, the same as I love my dog or cats or anything. I had compartmentalized where I was completely oblivious to the life and death of the animals that I ate. And then, you protect these animals over here. So I started tinkering with different ideas around foods and realized that, in Texas, our largest contribution to the world's stomachs is beef. And I love a cow like I love a dog. So rather than just bitch about it, I decided to change it. And so I started All Y'all's Foods, a Texas plant-based snack company. And I went with jerky, again, because of the beef situation, and came out with 7 flavors. And it was told to me, do not release 7 flavors, stick with 3. And go with that and get those in the marketplace after a couple of years, and you can expand. And so we did that, and we have expanded into a larger, more flavorful bacon bit. It's big crunchy bacon bit, y'all. And I got into the space because I knew I wanted to do something more around offering options to people who are traditionally, used to eating the traditional animal-based products. And I'm like, well, why don't we make these out of plants? So when the consumer takes them and eats them, it doesn't harm them, it nourishes them. And the animals are left alone, and the earth is treated better as a result. And that's how it all kind of came about.
That's awesome. Yeah. How long have you been like vegan for since like starting all of this?
I've been vegan for 28 months now.
28 months? Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's been, I was reluctant to go all the way, if you will, because I was so used to everything else. And then finally it was like, why not? And, as a result, over time, I've dropped 75 pounds. I've got a ways to go, but it just makes my life that much easier. Plus, I really feel a lot more peaceful as a result of knowing that I don't pay someone that I've never seen to kill an animal that didn't want to die. And so there's all these other benefits that come as a result that you're completely unaware of until you experience it and feel it. And I just can't say enough about it.
Wow,
good about
that's awesome. That's awesome. What was the catalyst for you? Was it just having that vegan juice place, or was there like a documentary you watched or something that really happened?
Yeah, there was. I did watch Earthlings, as much of it as I could watch, which was definitely not the whole thing. And afterwards, it didn't stop anything because it was so entrenched in me. But what it did is it made me aware that every time I sat and I ate something that came from an animal, I knew how it lived, I knew how it died, and it wasn't great. So one day, my wife had taken me for Valentine's Day, don't hate, to the zoo. So at the zoo, I had published a book in 13 called Nutritional Truths, and in it I spoke about the gorilla, the elephant, and the rhino, and how you have these huge, amazing animals that are just filled with muscle, and they don't eat cheeseburgers and Chick-fil-A. You know, they eat plants. And so at the zoo, when I first saw the rhino, I cried. And then I saw the gorilla, and I cried. I saw the elephant. And then it occurred to me, it just washed over me. And my wife will attest to it. It just washed over me that I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so then I hadn't eaten animals since. Now I still was doing, dairy and eggs, and that took a little bit longer time. But then I realized that I just needed to go all the way. And but for some people it's an immediate thing; they completely walk away, and that's fine. And other people it's a process, and however it works for people, it's their business. And I just hope they get to a point where they start the process, or at least, Meatless Monday. The first time I heard about Meatless Monday, I thought, I can't even think of a meatless snack, and that's the truth. In my mind, I couldn't think of a world without meat, and because I did eat fast food 2, maybe 3 times a day. And of course, unless you're down in a place like San Antonio or San Marcos, where you can go to Earth Burger, there's no options. And so, it was one of those things that it wasn't a decision so much as just a knowing came over me, and it was like, I'm done. And so I didn't even have to choose. It was like chosen for me.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, it's so funny because so many people have different ways about going out. I know Megan went her and her mom went right away, but I, like you too, it took me a really long time to make that. So I think it's, I'm glad that you shared that, because so many people struggle. They want to go vegan so bad, but they don't know what are the options. It can take some time.
Right.
So,
and then you get to a point where it's easy because that's no longer food. It's just no longer an option. So you're like, well, if need be, I'll have fries. I'll have, another salad or whatever. And it's okay, because somehow in having that compassion, coming from a compassionate perspective, and I can't say that's the same as if someone comes in and goes, I want to be as healthy as I can be, and they realize that veganism is really the healthiest you can be. That's probably a different experience, but mine was just strictly about the animals. And I've always had a kind of a soft spot for animals my whole life, even though at one point in my life I did fish, and one point in my life I did hunt, though I never shot anything. I just went and hung out with the guys. So, different people come to it at different ways, and I can't say what's right. I just know that the sooner they get to it, the freer they'll be, and they'll probably feel better too.
That's so true. So were you, I just have so many questions about your jerky, because it's just so cool. So were you a big cook? How did you get I'm going to make vegan jerky? Because I wouldn't even know how to.
Well, when I had the juice and smoothie bar, I had a dehydrator, and I learned to make things in the dehydrator because I was also serving lunches. And so I realized that you could do a lot of things with a lot of different plants. And so I just started experimenting with different things. And then when it came down to it, I was looking at 3 different options. One was doing vegan liquor, and then I was like, dude, that's really a toxin. And then I was looking at nut butters, and I'm like, everyone's doing that. And it was like, dude, what about the jerky you started making back when? And it was like, oh. So I started working, and there's a lot of really good vegan jerkies out, especially at the time. There were a lot fewer. And I found some good ones, but there weren't any with flavors that I wanted. And so I decided to make one, which was the black pepper sea salt, which is a very traditional jerky flavor. It tastes just like regular jerky. It just chews a little bit easier. And the other two are the prickly pear, and I use a prickly pear because it's the state plant of Texas, and each of our flavors represents one of the 7 regions of Texas. And of course, a portion of our proceeds go to Rowdy Girl Sanctuary down in Walder, Texas. And I chose Rowdy Girl back before I launched because they had the largest herd of cows in a sanctuary in the state. And plus they had that rancher advocacy program, which, you know, actually empowers people to get out of animal agriculture and gives them a path to replace that income without using animals through, you know, veganic farming and wind and solar generation, power generation. And the thing that most people don't know about veganic farming, because it is new, you're going to start hearing more about it, is when you buy produce that's organic, they can actually use blood, bone, feather, and manure to raise those plants in. And so veganic farming is plants end to end, no animal involvement whatsoever. And so all the way around, I'm glad I picked Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, and I knew it only made sense to support someone who's supporting and doing what I'm doing, but in a different way.
Wow, that's amazing. So I've heard about that type of farming. Is there a way to tell, like when you go get produce, like did this come from that type of farm?
Well, if it's not, and veganic is new, so I don't even know that there's a certification yet. But there's no way of knowing what went into that produce to graze it or raise it or nourish the ground. So there's no way of knowing that I'm aware of.
Interesting.
Wow, that's really cool that it's like new up and coming. That's amazing. So I know you've had a lot of business experience kind of before this. What would you tell someone who's like, you know what, I have this product that I think really could help people go vegan or is vegan? What would you tell them?
Well, in the state of Texas anyway, and most states have it, they have a cottage law. And a cottage law allows you to manufacture food items in a residence, but you can't get a UPC code for them and put them on a shelf somewhere, but you can sell them directly to the consumer through, I'm sorry.
we just so you guys know, we got Brett at a really bad time, but we wanted to get this interview because he's so good.
Yes.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. So, you know, people can do it at home and then sell it at either local stores, possibly depending on the size of the store, or at farmers markets and that kind of thing. And so I would say, if you've got an idea for something, create it and try it and see how well it's received. And then you can go from there to either get into a commercial facility where you can actually rent it by the hour, you know, so many hours per week or month, and produce in there. And then you're set up in that way to be able to get a UPC code, get the nutritional panels, and put together a product that can be put on a shelf somewhere.
Wow, that's so cool. I had no idea how that worked at all. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Sure. It's pretty straightforward, but it's a good proving ground where people don't have to invest a lot of money, or maybe they don't have a lot of money to invest, where you can actually create small batches at home and then take them down and sell them and get some feedback from your customers and help them. And then they can help you by spreading the word on social media to their friends and their groups. And you can grow it without a large investment or a large risk or anything, and get it proven in the marketplace.
Oh, that's awesome. We have Joy on, and she's asking, can your vegan jerky be ordered online?
I'll answer that. That's actually my well, real quick before I let you answer, Brett, that's actually my grandmother, and I can tell you that I found it in their HEB right by their house, and so it's right in like the gluten-free section. I remember going and finding it. I was like, look, I know this guy who sells the jerky. But now I'll let you answer, Brett. Sorry for
No, you're fine. You can find it at our website, which is allyallsfoods.com, through the shopping cart there, or you can look at a list of places depending where you are in the country or the state, and buy it locally in some cases. And HEB which is, if you haven't heard of it, you don't live in Texas. But it's a Texas-based grocery chain started in 1906 by a young lady with $60. And they've done real well over the last 100+ years. But they do a contest every year. It's called the Quest for Texas Best. And so I entered it last year. And the guy came and visited me, met with me, and we walked the plant and everything where we manufacture. And we talked about it. He said, well, I may have you come back out for another meeting. So I went, and they went, oh, surprise, you're one of the 20 finalists. And if you're a finalist, that means they want you on their shelves. And so we went and did a competition to vie for money. And I ended up coming in 6th, but that was out of 840 something people who had entered. And I thought, oh, this vegan jerky is okay, to come in 6th place. And right now it's in 85 HEBs, which are the larger stores with the gluten-free healthful section. But we're working on getting in other places in us. But you can find us and find where to buy it right on our website, again, at allyallsfoods.com.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was awesome. When I saw it, I was down visiting some family in Houston, and I went to go grocery shopping to buy some vegan food, and I just happened to see your jerky in there. I was like, oh, I definitely got to buy this. I know the guy, he's so awesome, and I love his jerky.
That's so cool. Megan, have you guys released the bacon? The vegan bacon?
We did it's Big Crunchy Bacony Bits. We released it on the 29th, which was last Wednesday. And right now we're talking with distributors and retailers. And right now people can get it on our site. Eventually it'll be on Amazon with the rest of our stuff. But for right now, it's just available through our site. But that's going to change as the days and weeks go by.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. And so, guys, before we jumped on, Brett was actually telling us about his process for this. So, Brett, can you tell us how you went through that process of getting people to try the bacon and the taste testing you did?
Yeah, no, it's something I've been working on for well over a year, and I could only get the flavor so far. So I reached out to a group who works with flavors, and it's mostly done with yeast. And I worked on refining the flavors and realized that I and the people I was having sample it, we haven't eaten bacon in years, but we remember the flavor. But at the same time, so I had to bring some people in who still eat meat, so they could try it and give me their honest feedback on it. And we tweaked it. We got it to a point we were happy with, and we trust that the customers will be happy with it as well. And here's this is the new bag.
That's so cool. I actually just put his website down in the comments below, and I pinned it up to the top. So if y'all want to check it out, definitely do so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So I'm so excited to try those. That sounds so good. We got a lot of people joining. Awesome. If you guys have tried his jerky, let us know in the comments. Love to hear your experience with it. So very cool. Brett, do you have anything else that you think would be beneficial for people who are making that transition from, eating meat to wanting to go vegan? Would you have any recommendations?
Well, I would say that, sometimes people come at me with, well, if you're vegan, why do you want stuff that looks and tastes like meat? And it's like, I didn't stop eating it because I didn't like it. I stopped eating because it was no longer considered a food to me. And so the neat thing is no matter what you like to eat, there are probably at least a half a dozen, if not more, companies that make it, but from plants. And some are better than others, and it's all subjective. That's just it. People go, well, which one's the better one? Well, to me, it's this. To you, it's another. To another, it's another. But there's so many choices, whether it's cheese or whether it's a milk or whether it's, like ground meat or chicken or pretty much anything else. It's made. There's someone making it from plants. And again, when you take it from plants, there's no cholesterol, and it's not a class 1 or a class 2 carcinogen like many other things are when it comes to meat. And that's, a class 1 carcinogen for bacon, regular bacon, is the same as asbestos, mustard gas, plutonium, smoking cigarettes.
Oh, wow.
So, it's based on science. All the protein that we get out of meat actually came from the plants the animal ate. So if we just remove the middle critter, as we call it, and go right to the plants, then we can avoid all the bad stuff. And not just for us, but for the animal and for the plant. And so I would say, if you can't imagine a life without meat, I understand completely. I would say try a meal, something different. And online you'll find a myriad. In My Vegan Dreams, you'll find a myriad of recipes and different things to try. And I say, just try it. They talk about having a meatless Monday. Start with a meatless meal, or if it needs to be a meatless snack, I understand. And just work towards it and learn more. Whether you consider yourself an animal lover or compassionate, come at it from that angle. If you're purely about fitness and being in shape and longevity and stuff, come at it. The Game Changers. Have you seen it? Come at it from that point. And if you're concerned about the earth and its longevity and you're not vegan, you might want to look at that, because again, that's one of the kindest things we can do for our planet as well, is to remove animal agriculture from the mix. Mm-hmm. And so I would say progress, not perfection, and just do what you can and get connected more into why people eat more plants, no matter where you come from it. And you may be in a situation where those foods aren't available to you as much. The thing is no matter where someone's at, rice and beans are very doable and very vegan and very full of protein. And the great thing about eating plants over meat or dairy is meat or dairy has zero fiber. And you know what our colon loves? It loves fiber.
Yeah.
So again, for that longevity, or again, for the kindness or for your own health, try more plants, and whatever works for you, try it.
I love that.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's perfect. Yes.
Round
So
of
good.
applause.
Yes. So much value here. Like, Brett, it's absolutely incredible. Just all the work that you've done and how many people that you've inspired, and the delicious food that you're making. It's all just really, really great. So I am so grateful that you joined us. And Megan, do you have any questions?
Just that I appreciate you so much coming onto our page and sharing your story and letting just everyone know a little bit more about what you do, and just providing to the vegan community just one more vegan, just adding to the pot of goodness. So I appreciate it so much, Brett.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, and guys, be sure to comment below. Thank Brett for being on, and definitely check out his company. Obviously, there's just so much heart. Like when he said each jerky has a different region of Texas, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So much heart, so much compassion. It's incredible. And be sure to give him some love in the comments. And for everyone on, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk with you in the comments. Thanks again, Brett.
Thank you.
Bye.